welcome back to the Constitutionals, the entertainment business show podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website, cpluscomedy.com. It's a website. Go there. I am so sorry. I am thrown off. I saw a headline. I'll just read out the headline. The Rockford Files. There's a reboot of The Rockford Files starring Bones himself, David Boreanaz. I think he was Bones. Let me triple check that. I'm almost positive he was Bones. You know, from the show Bones. Yeah, he was Bones. He was in Bones with Emily Deschanel. Is that correct as well? Yes, Emily Deschanel. How many episodes of Bones have I seen? One. It was the one with Stewie Griffin. That's very true. Anyway, and they added a new cast member to the ensemble cast, Michaela McManus, as a horny adult man. I went, she's very attractive. Let me go to her Wikipedia page. And I looked at her Wikipedia page, and it said I did all this while the theme song was playing. So the theme song is 57 seconds long, and I was like, oh, what? She starred in, well, she was recurring on One Tree Hill. Come on, that's nothing bad. She's part of it. She also recurred on SEAL Team, a show I did not watch, and Lone Star, and she's in Memory of a Killer. Anyway, I did want to watch Memory of a Killer. I'm very interested. That show starring, who is it? Patrick Dempsey. I was going to say David Duchovny. Patrick Dempsey, who I believe went gray. Looking good, too. That show was very interesting. And I only started paying attention because around the Super Bowl, trailers were going out. And every time I'm on Hulu, it's just playing. The trailer is playing. Except now it's all Scrubs trailers. Anyway, going back to Michaela McManus. Yes, I was attracted to her. Clicked on, and I went to her Wikipedia, and I saw that she was on Law and Order SVU. She played Kim Grayleck, and I couldn't remember who that was. And then that's when it was time for me to speak. But she was in season 10. Was she supposed to be a part of the spinoff? No, she was not. And the spinoff came, I believe, much later. Yeah, that's right, because after Diane Neal, Casey Novak left, or was forced out. I don't know. Oh, Necessary Roughness. Remember that show? I don't believe that show lasted very long. That was on USA. It wouldn't hurt if USA and TNT came back with some more shows. I watched the most USA because of this for the past 2 weeks because of the Olympics. Anyway, let's get back to this. This is episode 370 of the Constitutionals, the Entertainment Business News Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is a premier podcast website, C Plus Comedy. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. I just finished recording, doing a couple of interviews. That'll be out next week. Those will be out next week. Excuse me. So please, if I seem a little frazzled, it's because of that. It was junket. Remember last year when I was like, I'm never doing junkets again, and now here we are. Also, I got a haircut, and my regular barber is gone. He left, I assume, in the winter of like a couple of months ago, and the person that he referred me to is at the place. He didn't leave. He owns the business. He just retired, so he can spend time with his husband and do whatever. I don't know. But the person that's now running the business day to day is a nice guy, and he does not give me discounts like the other guy does. And he takes a little longer with the haircut. So I went around the lunch hour. I took Maverick for a quick walk. Then I went around lunch hour, and then I had the reason I put it today for today was because I knew that I had no meetings, and then and I put it around lunch hour so I could just knock it out and not really be missed at work. When I sat in that chair, it felt like it'd been an hour, because there's a point where I was like dozing off. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? Anyway, and it turned out to only be 35 minutes, except it did turn out to be like 40 minutes. Anyway, so I went with a new haircut. We did a burst fade, no big deal. We did a burst fade, which means it blooms from the bottom of the ear. Burst fade, left a little in the back, and then I like to finger curl my hair, just put the leave-in conditioner, finger curl my hair, all that stuff. Instead of using, if you're black and you have tight 4C hair, we'll use this special sponge thing, and then so I can create some more curls in my already curly hair, but they'll be like bigger. But I like to use my fingers because I like to grow my hair out, because haircuts are expensive. And women will be like, but getting my hair done costs $200. Yeah, but you do it like once every couple of months. I'm not spending $50 every 2 weeks. You kidding me? Plus tip. Anyway, he started. So I said, yeah, we can do the and curl the top a little bit, because I did have these interviews and I didn't have like the time to do that before, because I knew it was gonna take a little bit of time. And then he does the sponge thing, and I go, oh, this looks fine, because that takes like 2 seconds. I go, oh, that's great. And I'm getting ready to leave. I'm like readying my body to start moving again. And then he takes a comb, and he like literally just like a regular comb, and he starts grabbing like chunks of my hair and twisting it like that. And I'm going, no, no, we don't need to. And then he continues doing it. So now there are these parts of my hair that are like highly twisted, and whatever he put in, I don't know if it's conditioner or whatever. It's definitely not conditioner, but whatever he did put in, it's not gel, but it's also not conditioner. So it's kind of that consistency, and it is shiny in my hand, and it does smell a little bit. But anyway, he put it in, and they're sticking. And I wash my hair twice a week. Tomorrow I have to wash it, and I'm just concerned about getting these tighter curls out. Anyway, that's it. I did the interviews. They're great. They'll be coming out next week. I just recently put out an interview with Jackie Cation. If you know comedy, you know Jackie Cation. She's a comedian that hosts several podcasts. I'll get to that at the end. I'll plug that at the end. It's fine. Go watch it, youtube.com/comedy. Anyway, today, when I got home and I was able to have lunch prior to these interviews, and then the workday's happening. I'm still working. The interviews only took 7 minutes of time total. Again, junkets. Not total. It was like 15. I watched the season 10 premiere of Scrubs. I have some thought. I enjoyed it. It's a great return for the show. I do have some thoughts around the production. What's his name? Bill. What the fuck is his name? Bill Lawrence. Bill Lawrence and I believe Zach Braff have gone on record saying that season 9 does not count. If you don't know, season 9. The show ended at season 8 originally, and then it moved over to. Am I wrong? The 8th season was first to be shown on ABC, so it ended at season 7 originally on NBC, and then ABC picked it up for season 8, and then they also did season 9. Season 9 had an almost entirely different cast because season 8 just ended, and Zach Braff and everybody were kind of like done, with the exception of John C. McGinley and Donald Faison, who appeared as part of the main cast for season 9. Then we had recurring, Ken Jenkins, who played Bob Kelso, was recurring, and Sarah Chalk's Elliot Reed was recurring, and then and things of that nature. So, which is fine, and season 9 was not very well received, and it does not even seem like that Bill Lawrence likes it at all. People were, everyone was wondering how we're gonna do season 10. How's it gonna do that? Are they gonna say season 9 was a JD daydream because he only appeared in like 3 episodes and they left, like 6 I think, and they left. No, they just completely wrote over season 9. They went with the season 8 finale, and they broke up Elliot Reed and JD and Elliot and JD and continued life on from season 8 onward, which is, I don't know, kind of a slap in the face to the people who made season 9. even if a show is not as quote unquote good, I think at some point you just kind of have to say, hey, we made that, and just go with it. Who cares? And even if you are going to say it's a daydream, just do it. But don't just do season 10 and not pretend that season 9 doesn't exist. What was it? Saint Elsewhere ends with everybody's the entire show was made up in a snow globe of an autistic boy's snow globe. That's a fantastic ending. That's ain't fantastic. Come along and watch this fantastic ending. Who was that for? But season 10 premiered last night. I watched the first episode. I did not watch the second episode. And it, for all intents and purposes, it is the return to Scrubs. I think Bill Lawrence, for as many shows as he's made, and I'm including, Shrinking and he created Clone High. Interesting. Shrinking, Cougar Town, and Ground Floor, Ted Lasso, and Bad Monkey. He's able to give very distinct voices to it's so stupid. Okay, all right. He's able to give distinct voices to every single one of these shows and every single one of the characters. And in terms of, he also did Spin City. Good for him. I love Spin City. You know what show I just bought on sale on Vudu? For Fandango at Home, formerly known as Vudu. News Radio. It's a wonderful show. It's a wonderful show that, you see SD, standard definition, on a show that was not updated to HD. Looks fine. Looks fine on a giant TV. Anyway, but for what it's worth, Scrubs is a good show, and I think if you watched Scrubs when it was on, even if you can put yourself into a place of this show aired from 2001 to 2010, this show was as very specifically in this era, and it feels like an indie style comedy with a bunch of great music, with so much music that is just tied to the moment and of everything surrounding it. You will love Scrubs season 10, and if you, and I'm in that point. Scrubs season 10 is just more Scrubs. I enjoyed my time with it, and I'm glad to see these people back. Hopefully they get a season 11, and it'll be exciting to see more characters from the past pop up. I don't expect much. We already know that John C. McGinley and Judy Reyes are only getting a handful of episodes. But we know that Krista Miller is coming back, and obviously because she's married to Bill Lawrence, and Robert Boschio, I think is his name, who plays the Todd, and the janitor is coming back. But I'm excited. But my one, and it was nice to see Phil Lewis is huge. My one, I would say, and it's not even a complaint, but it's just something I noticed. After, especially now, we have to compare this show to the likes of, and I hate to do this, of the Pitt, because the Pitt is so omnipresent in the world of television today, it's not it's not a very diverse show. Scrubs is not very diverse. Well, Scrubs season 10 is not very diverse. From the original show is more diverse than any show in the era. But I also wonder if to newcomers, does not watching this new season, because this new season is modern. But I wonder if to newcomers who never saw Scrubs, if they went back, would it age very well? Again, I don't think so. I don't think if you watched, for a lot of people, I don't think if you watched, if you did not watch Scrubs and you can't, jive with the time period and how shows and movies were made back then, and there's a lot of needle drops, and so it's a little bit soap opera at points. I don't think that you will like the show. But you can pretty much say that about like Veronica Mars. Veronica Mars is such a show that is like stuck in its era, because I remember watching that show when I was in college and hearing them talk about Wi-Fi. We have to go to this character's house because his parents have Wi-Fi, which is so strange. It's like I'm watching Southland right now, and that show is in between Razor phones and iPhones. Like there's a stark contrast between 2008, the first season, and the second season, where the characters are all using like Nextel phones and Razor flip phones, and then they're going, and then like in the next season people have iPhones. It's maddening. Anyway, what was I talking about season 10? Also, I do want to mention that the diversity thing. I do want to mention that Scrubs season 10, and I was thinking about this when I put this shirt on. This is my talking point. Scrubs season 10 is to like a modern day, like a reboot, to like a reboot to what is it? Barbershop 3 is to a reboot for a show for a movie that was made back in the early 2000s. It is such, and that's a compliment. It is such a more toned, much more chiseled, and much more grown up. And I don't mean in the sense like they've gotten older or anything, but it's a more grown up show compared to what it was back then. Like back then, I guarantee season 10 is made with duct tape and a lot of pliers. However, I do think it looks better. It sounds better. The acting is better. I mean, just look at what's his face, Donald Faison, in the middle, I believe, of the A plot of JD coming back. He and Turk hanging out. You find out that Turk is burnt out, and he just gets a very tense scene early on in this episode, and it works. And if you go watch Barbershop 1 and 2, and they're wonderful, fantastic comedies, but watch Barbershop 3, and you just go, oh my gosh, this is what a movie looks like, versus the Barbershop 1 and 2 and Scrubs seasons 1 through 8 just don't look like what Barbershop 3 and Scrub season 10 look like. Anyway, the diversity thing. Joel Kim Booster, a friend of the show, I have spoken to him before, is a part of the show, which is great. And then Turk has, which is something that is not missed on me when I see two gorgeous women of color who are his surgical interns, Layla Layla Mohammadi and Amanda Morrow, who are his surgical interns. And then the interns working under Dr. Cox, John C. McGinley's Perry Cox, just three white people who would be main characters in a show anytime soon. I think the Pitt has spoiled us, me, in terms of having just a diverse cast in a show where I think the star is the hospital. If Sex and the City, if the city was the star, then the Pitt's hospital is the star. And And I'm sure these people are great actors. I'm sure all the three white characters working under Dr. Cox are great actors, but it is just three bland. It's the same issue, and I'm sure. And again, this is not meant to be harmful. It's not meant to be mean. It's the same issue I have with SNL. Just because someone looks a certain way or fits a certain type, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily it's like a great fit for the show. And on SNL in this past season, they hire three, with the exception of Ben from Please Don't Destroy. They hire just a bunch of young white kids with followings, and then Cam Patterson, who is, I don't understand why he's still working there, the black Trump voter guy. But and I don't understand why he's working there, because A, he's not funny, but B, he called the show gay or something. I don't remember. Anyway. Oh my gosh. But it's just because, like Chloe Trost was hired on SNL. And for some reason, people liked her. Just because she can sing does not give her the ability to be funny. That doesn't make sense to me. Hire people because they're funny. Also on SNL, stop hiring people who have followings. If they have 100,000 followers on Instagram, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're good and funny. I think about this a lot because, I watch SNL a lot, and watching the episodes from the 2000s, yes, buddy, I see you, the 2000s and the 90s and the 80s, for what, even if I don't necessarily like every single episode or every single sketch or every single joke, at least when those people are hired, like the first season, you don't know who those people are. Before Will Ferrell's hired, you don't know who that guy is. You don't know who Vanessa Bayer is. And it is, yes, we are in an age of social media, and that's a huge thing about it. But I would rather hire somebody. I would rather take a chance on somebody who goes to UCB, who goes to the Groundling, sure, who does stand up, who tours as stand up. I would rather hire somebody who is not as well, or excuse me, I'd rather hire somebody who doesn't have that giant following, because they're going to work a little bit harder, as opposed to some people who were hired. Who, I'm not saying that they don't have the same work ethic, but there's just kind of a little bit of lax. Like, hey, if I get let go from this, then I can go back and I have 100,000 followers and I'm going to be fine. I would rather people, the person who wants it is going to go after it. And yes, it takes a couple of seasons for people to find their footings, but the problem is that when you're ready to go and get it and you take big swings, you're going to find it. And if not, you don't. Who cares? But I'm tired of seeing the same white actors and comedians hired for the same roles over and over and over again. Oh, it just sucks. And it's boring. Oh, that guy's white and he's handsome. Cool. What is that going to do? All right, let's move on. That's my review of Scrubs. Let's move on. This first story comes from, I had an issue with this when I was doing LinkedIn logs, so we'll see if this works. It sure doesn't. It sure does not. I don't know what's going on, man. Sometimes I do things on OBS and it works, and then sometimes it doesn't. Let's see if this works. That's not even that's a wallpaper. What's going on? Jesus Christ. Okay. You might have seen one of my tabs say where to put a speed sensor on an indoor bike. I'm having an issue. I have this new Garmin. I also have a new heart rate monitor, and the issue is when I do Peloton, the brain is the iPad. The iPad is the brain. I use the Swin IC4 for biking. I use the Soul S63. It's behind this wall for running on a treadmill. And now I have that Concept 2 rower. And all I do is just, when I'm ready to do all the whatever shit I'm doing, I just hook it all up through the iPad. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You know, technology sucks. And what was I getting at? I don't know. It just sometimes things pair and sometimes things don't. Sometimes I'm in the middle of a live class on Peloton, or no, excuse me. Sometimes I'm in a live class on Peloton, and then it just stops. Like the iPad will just stop, and it's because the Wi-Fi radio is just like horrible. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. So anyway, I bought a speed sensor to put on the bike so that it could just go directly to the watch, so I can stop just having to edit the things that are uploaded to Garmin. Speed sensor does not work very well. I spent $16 on it, but it just sucks. Jack Dunn over at Variety writes, Adult Swim's Smiling Friends to end after season 3. Smiling Friends is an excellent show. It's a very surreal comedy show following the adventures of Pim and the yellow guy. I completely forgot his name. It's such a wonderful show. I think everybody should watch it because it is hilarious. It's Pim and Charlie. Can't believe I forgot Charlie's name. Charlie. But the creators, Michael Cusack and Zach Handel, they I believe they had a double renewal up to season 5, and some hidden episodes that were supposed to be coming out later this year. They announced, breaking the hearts of millions of fans, that season 3 would be the last season, the season that just finished airing. They put out a long voice note on YouTube, and it looks like here that's linked to his Twitter. They said that they felt that they were pretty burnt out after putting years and years into the show, and they're also pretty accomplished of what the show is. They didn't want to continue doing the show half-hearted or not feeling it, so it wasn't fair to them. It wasn't fair to us, and they just decided to end it 2 seasons early. They told Adult Swim what was going on. Adult Swim said, if you're not feeling like making a cartoon, we're not going to stop you. Go have a break. Either come back or don't, which is a nice thing to hear. I feel like Adult Swim is one of the only networks that is really attuned to doing that. I feel like if you did that on Disney or Nickelodeon, they'd be like, you're done. But Adult Swim, before the belt tightened over there, you would see something like the Venture Brothers go away for a couple of years and then come back. You would see, I don't know if Harvey Birdman, I feel like Harvey Birdman aired, I feel like every single show, Rick and Morty, for instance, that's a show that aired pretty sporadically, but now they're just on top of it, I think. So now they have those two unreleased episodes that people knew about. They will be airing on Adult Swim on April 12th. They're not finales. They're just 2 episodes that didn't really fit in with the season. If you haven't seen Adult Swim, if you haven't seen Smiling Friends, go watch it. It's a very funny show. And I can only imagine how you write that show for 11 minutes and it's just filled to the brim with insanity. So, they got out at the time that they felt like they needed to get out, and that's what's most important. Okay, hold on. I'm deleting something on OBS. Let's see if this works. This comes from GameSpot. Jesus. How do I do this? Sony may be drastically shifting its PC strategy, report. It's written by Blair Marnell. Sony in the past couple of years has started releasing, in the past few years, has started releasing its first party. All right, well, that might be a better title. Its first party titles over on PC in the same way that, they're first party. They're first party. So in the same way that you'll see, I don't know, I can't think of a game. Its first party titles, Spider-Man, for instance, or Ghosts of Tsushima, I don't know why I say it like that. It's a game I own and it's a game I like. Ghost of Tsushima on PC. And quite frankly, they make a lot of money from those sales. The problem is they take forever. And it's understandable if you have a game like Death Stranding and releases on, I think it released on PS4, right? It might be PS4, PS5. But if you have a game like Death Stranding 2, Escape the Beach, I think that's what it's called. But you have a game like that or Spider-Man, and you want people to play that game, you're going to tell them, or the God of War reboot from 2019, you're going to say, hey, this is our first party game, buy a PlayStation and play the game, or don't. But we know you're going to buy a PlayStation and play the game. But then you have people who don't want to, A, buy a PlayStation, or B, they just prefer to play on PC. And finally, after years of waiting, they're able to get the Metal Gear Solid. They're able to get Spider-Man. They're able to get God of War when the game's sequels come out. So God of War, I believe, came out in 2019, and then Ragnarok, God of War Ragnarok came out in like 2023. I don't remember. But 2023, I bought it last year for $20. Still have not played it. So it probably came out, like 2023. Or Ghost of Tsushima. And you know, if you're a smart person or even a dumb person, you know that people are going to play Spider-Man. They're going to buy it on PC. They're going to spend an untold amount of money because they didn't want to buy it on the console. They can play on the PC and have it, you know, for themselves or whatever. Like, people play PC games. I don't. I'm not really good at it, but people do it. Now, apparently, according to Bloomberg's Jason Schreier, who's a pretty reliable source, and as well as one of these sources, Nate the Hate, who's a name you've seen if you follow gaming news, is floated about because they are also pretty reliable, and then also Sneaker SO, they've all come out to say that Jason Schreier stresses belief that Sony's live service games like Helldivers 2 will continue to be on PC, largely because those titles are so dependent upon building a large player base. But he suggested that Sony may be, quote, backing away from their exclusive console stuff like traditional single-player stuff on PC. It doesn't, I feel like we've come to a point in gaming, and this happened years ago, where while first party is very important, I feel as though it's not like a main selling point anymore. Because I got my PS5. I got my PS5 like 3 months after I got my Xbox Series X, and I do only use it to play exclusives. But it's not. But it's also not a place where like I'm dying to go. People will either choose, a regular person who does not own all three major consoles and a Steam Deck is not going to go, I'm going to play the game on Xbox and then I'm going to play this one on PlayStation. No, people are just going to choose the one console and they're going to stick with that. But in this new world, we now have Game Pass and PlayStation Plus and Nintendo Console Online, whatever the fuck that's called. And then, we get free games via Epic Games and as I mentioned, the Steam Deck and Lenovo Legion Go and all these other handheld PCs and even our phones can all play these games fairly competently. And then we have used to be console exclusives like MLB The Show finally being made available on other consoles as of in the last couple of years. It all just kind of seems pointless to not have, at least in terms of your major games, like on Xbox, Gears of War, and on Halo, and on PlayStation, Spider-Man and Ghost of Tsushima and God of War. It seems like you don't know what you're doing when you don't have those games on the PC market, playing on the PC, playable on the PC market, because PC gamers don't really give a hoot about the splitting of the hairs when it comes to exclusives. I don't like this idea, and Microsoft saying that their next console could be like a PC is just. I feel like all these console makers aren't really understanding that it doesn't that gamers who play at home, aren't really interested. Like the regular typical gamer, again, the person who doesn't own multiple consoles, isn't really interested in tooling around with bit rates and 4K colors and HDR and all this stuff. They just want to put the game in the slot, or download it and then go. They don't want to deal with all that stuff. I don't want to deal with all that stuff. When I turn on the Steam Deck, I'm playing Sonic Frontiers on Steam Deck right now. If I turn it on and the game has to shut down to update, I'm not playing Sonic Frontiers. I don't care if I have fiber. I'm not playing Sonic Frontiers. I'm going to pick up the Switch, or I'm going to turn on the Xbox, or seldomly turn on the PlayStation, or turn on an emulation station on the Steam Deck and play a Sonic handheld game there. I spent a lot of years playing on Game Boy Advance, Sonic Advance and Sonic Advance 2, and those games do not age very well. Scrubs aged well. Compared to the original Scrubs, aged well compared to Sonic Advance. And yeah, that is an insult. I think this is a stupid move. In the same way that, for Xbox, not having a lot of first party games, or, just shifting a platform to everything is an Xbox. It's just, you're doing too much. Also, there are rumors that the next Xbox might come in 2027, or the next PlayStation might come in 2029. We still, and I keep saying this over and over again, I think about this all the time. We have not even done this generation right. Not one of these consoles, including the Switch 2, is what they should be, or what they should be rather. Excuse me. For $500, the Switch 2 should do a lot more, and we should be able to buy every single Nintendo game that's ever come out should be available to purchase on Switch 2, including GameCube games and Pokemon games. It's crazy that they are charging. Tomorrow is Pokemon. We're in the middle of the 30th anniversary of Pokemon, but tomorrow is like the release of Fire Red and Leaf Green on the Nintendo Switch storefront, and they're going to be $20. There's no changes. It's a 7 megabyte game. It's a game I can play on my phone right now at 5 times speed if I wanted to. And I think I do have Fire Red downloaded to my phone. I think I do. I know it's on the Steam Deck. But it's what a stupid, crazy thing. $20, and people are going to buy it because it's more of the same. It's ridiculous. Anyway, but we haven't reached what these consoles can do. I don't even care if the PS5 Pro is out. I don't care if the Xbox Series X has 1920 teraflops. I was playing High on Life 2 last night, and I have some thoughts on that game. I think it's a funny game. I do think the gameplay blows. I think the gameplay sucks. It's like they built one of the things about the game High on Life 2 is you get a skateboard now, you skate around, and movement is key. It's like if Doom were worse. But the jokes are funny. I think the writing is fun and funny, and I don't hear a lot of the same jokes, but I am tired when I die during a boss battle because I don't know what I'm doing, or I don't know where to go because the game is I've experienced so many glitches in High on Life 2. It's bad gameplay paired with good writing. Anyway, we haven't reached what these games could do because I'm still experiencing issues on whatever is happening on High on Life 2. All right, let's move on. This comes from Engadget, written by Lawrence Bonk. Apple and Netflix are teaming up to share Formula One programming. It's been no secret that Apple spent a lot of money to get Formula One to air exclusively on Apple TV. And joining Apple, I did not know, in joining Apple TV, it's Formula One races are free, and you get access to Formula One TV, and all that stuff. But also MLS is free, and I don't watch soccer, but you better believe with this Apple TV subscription, I am going to be watching soccer. according to a reference to the Hollywood Reporter, Apple and Netflix are teaming up in a great little partnership. I think is going to work out for everybody involved. F1 Canadian Grand Prix, which is coming in May, is going to be streaming on Apple TV. But also, you can, if you're a Netflix subscriber, you can watch it on Netflix as well. And then, starting Friday, season 8 of Drive to Survive will be available on both Apple TV and Netflix. This is great for Apple TV because, quite frankly, it needs shows. I go on Apple TV sometimes, and it's just nothing. Besides the shows that you already watch, you're not going to... Oh, Jesus, the desk started rising. You're not going to be finding shows that you're interested in. If you don't watch a show on Apple TV, you're just not going to watch it, period. This is a nice little thing, to have Apple spend $150 million per year to stream F1 races. This is something that will definitely help them in the long term because now Netflix subscribers are going to be like, hey, we're going to watch F1 because Drive to Survive Season 8 is out. I want to watch F1. Oh, it's on Apple TV. Let me go there. And then, later in the year when that Canadian Grand Prix comes around, they're going to be like, whoa, this is great. This is F1. This is excellent. Where do I go watch this? Hey, go to Apple TV. Conversely, if you have Apple TV, there's a very large chance you already have Netflix. So this is just added. This is an added bonus. I think, and I feel, and don't hold me to this, but I do feel that this is with Apple pairing up with Peacock in order to have some of its shows on some Peacock shows on Apple TV and some Apple TV shows on Peacock. This is kind of where streaming television is going. I feel like because these sports rights are so expensive, this is kind of where things are going to be heading. We're going to see a lot more co-productions in the same way that Abbott Elementary is produced by Warner Brothers, but it airs on ABC. We're going to see a lot more of that. And finally, this comes from the Hollywood Reporter. Speaking of Warner Brothers, written by Tony Maglio, Warner Bros. Discovery lost $252 million in the quarter. Everyone decided they wanted to buy it. Both Warner Brothers and Paramount are not doing terribly well financially, which doesn't make sense why Paramount would like to buy Warner Brothers. But anyway, as we know, Netflix and Paramount are duking it out for Warner Brothers Discovery. Paramount wants to buy all of Warner Brothers Discovery, while Netflix just wants to buy the studios, the profitable side, the studios and the streaming. And Paramount just put out its 10th and final offer, revised offer for Warner Brothers, and they would give $31 per share plus pay penalties and all this stuff with money from Saudi princes and whatnot. Anyway, hey, Luna, get down. Get down. She's not going to listen to me. These cats, man. But Netflix wants to pay $27 per share. Anyway, we know streaming is a lot of money. Streaming and studios and TV shows, and it's just a lot of money. And we're seeing things be lost quarter by quarter because these studios can't keep up with, and production companies can't keep up with the rich bitches, pretty much. Netflix and Apple TV. So the net losses in its fourth quarter for 2025, they saw a revenue of $9.46 billion and 131.6 million global streaming subscribers. Remember, they're still expanding out into the north, southeast, into the eastern world. WBD lost $252 million in quarter four, which adjusted earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization was $2.216 billion. So revenue was down about 6% from the fourth quarter. Last year, though the number ought to satisfy Wall Street from an expectations POV, no one likes an unprofitable company. Streaming subscribers rose by 3.5 million. And okay, let's continue on with this. In December, so we know that Warner gave a handshake deal to Netflix to accept its $83 billion, and then David Ellison's Paramount Skydance is ready to buy the company now for much more than that. Is these numbers for profitability are very important for investors because it does also help show whether or not these prospective buyers will be buying something that is worth the money. And I wonder if Paramount Skydance is besides even having the money or not having the money to purchase Warner Bros. Discovery, I wonder if what their stock is like compared to Warner. Now, we know that Paramount reported its fourth quarter earnings on Wednesday, and they dipped, right? Oh, they had an operating loss of $339 million. It was up 2%. But we know that their stock went up because of the deal, this new proposal to buy Warner Brothers. Again, David Zaslav is going to make out like a bandit. He's going to be a billionaire regardless of what happens. But it's just fascinating to watch a company that is supposedly on the brink of destruction and loss just be the most wanted thing in the world because of what its relationship to Hollywood is. And I think Netflix sees that, and Paramount definitely does see that, but either way, it's going to be a monopoly in the end. Okay, listen, I'm done. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see a video, where you can see me talk to famous people. I just put out an interview with the wonderful, the great, the talented, the funny Jackie Cation. She is a storied comedian. If you know comedy, you know who she is. Jackie Cation also hosts, she put out a new special you can find on YouTube right now called Altercation. And I watched a lot of it. It's very funny. She obviously, we know who she is. You can also listen to her slate of podcasts wherever you get your podcasts: the Jackie and Laurie Show and the Dork Forest. Jackie and Laurie Show is where she talks to Laurie Kilmartin about comedy and gigging and doing stand-up and touring and all this stuff. And then the Dork Forest is just a nerdy podcast where she talks about nerdy things. So go check both of those out. Go check out the interview under the interviews on youtube.com/C+comedy, where you can also see a video version of this show, as well as the other podcasts, Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show, which is coming back tomorrow, and LinkedIn Logs, the Jobs podcast, the /business podcast, because I can't just talk about jobs all the time on that show, as I learned this week. Subscribe to those shows wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on social media on Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at C+Comedy. Me on those platforms at Chad Blackwhite. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. This is the it. Bye.